Lax and Poetic. I'm your host, Bryce Queener. We're going to talk all things lax on this show with some of the greatest personalities in the sport. Be sure to check out our sponsor, QueenerLax.com, for swag, camps, and clinics. Got questions? Want to hear something? Get in our DMs at QueenerLax. Hey, thanks for listening. And remember, ABC, always be cradling.
Good. Okay. All right, welcome everybody to the show tonight. We got Sean Sconone coming in from East Islip, legend, football, lacrosse star, NCAA Goalie of the Year, All-American, MLL two-time Goalie of the Year, future PLL Star. My favorite goalie to watch right now outside of my brother. I still got him as one. You know, he watches this, so still got him as one, but you too for sure. And I'm excited to watch you play in the PLL this season, but the last 2 years in the MLL, real fun to watch you. And thanks a lot for joining the show tonight.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, man. Pumped to be here.
Yeah. Like I said, by far my favorite goalie to watch. And honestly, I wasn't, I've been coaching women's now for the last 7 or 8 years. We'll get into it. Your sister plays at Carolina. We've talked about the women's game before. So I didn't see you play a lot in college, and really you're part of that generation where I didn't recruit you. I recruited Adam Gettleman. I tried to from the island. So I remember some island goalies. So let's take it back to the beginning. I need some of your story that I can't find on the Google. What was your first stick? Were you in the goal right away? Like, break it down for me how you started.
All right. So no, I wasn't in the goal right away. I was playing actually midi. Like third, fourth grade. My dad was my coach, coaching the PLL youth team. The little league guys running around out there, and sure thing. He's like, "You're the coach's kid. Hop in there, man. Like, deal with me is you play half, and then play half. You can score a couple goals, and get back in the second half, and then save some goals." So, coach's kid took it over, and then all of a sudden he's like, "All right, you're pretty good. And why don't you just stay in and play?" It's like fifth grade or so. I became goalie, and then full time, and then just kind of took off from there. He started getting me some lessons, and that was it.
I was actually wondering this. I was looking up your sister's bio and your UMass bio. Did your dad play, uncles play? Because Long Island, the tradition goes deep. So
my dad just played in high school. He was a big football guy, played lacrosse. He actually faced off in high school back in the 80s. But, he was a lacrosse guy and football guy and just put his stick in his kids' hands.
Back then, the best player on the team took the face-offs, like everyone. So he was probably pretty good.
But who knows?
Now, on the show, I assume you've watched every episode. We always talk about, backyard lax and stuff. I mentioned your sisters at Carolina. Did you guys have any sort of backyard game you played? You guys got after in the yard? Did you have a neighborhood where you had a lot of kids that congregated? What was your backyard game like?
That's funny you ask that, because she would tell you right now if she was on this call. I used to throw passes at her. We used to have a catch, and she used to yell at me because I threw them too hard. She was like, "Stop throwing them so hard at me." She'll tell you right now. It's the funniest story. And it got her stick skills freaking – she has great stick skills now. They're unbelievable. But, yeah, we would just have a catch, and I would just throw the ball at her because she had a girl stick, and, and she was trying to catch it, and she kept hitting her stick and falling down. And, she kept doing back and forth. But, yeah, we used to do that all the time in our backyard. And sometimes when she comes home, we still do it. But she catches everything now. It's actually hilarious to watch.
Does she shoot on you now? Like, do you guys go out and get some reps in? I mean, that's my Brett never liked me shooting on him, but that's why we play goalie wars, because just ripping the hard ball. But she's got a pretty good shot. You let her rip on you?
See, like, it's a fuzzy line. I don't want her to score on me because then I'll never not hear it. But actually, last year when the quarantine hit, she was home. She came down and shot on me a little bit, just so she gets reps, and I needed some shots. But, yeah, that was really the first time since, she was little. She actually shot at me, but she shoots the ball pretty freaking hard. Let me tell you.
She can bring it. Now, your high school days, I mentioned earlier, a big football star. I read last night you're a 4-year starter. That's pretty tough to do anywhere. But just lacrosse. Explain to people that aren't from maybe Long Island listening why Long Island is so good at high school lacrosse. And to be honest, an upstate guy, I never wanted to give it to the island because we're just rivals from birth, but recruiting down there and just playing with those guys and just, it's a whole different culture. It's a whole different level. How do you best explain it?
That's tough. I mean, I feel like a lot of kids, when they play soccer and then they play lacrosse when they're little. There's so much stuff going on, especially now. Like I'm coaching a team now, and there's kids that are just learning how to walk and chew gum picking up a stick. Like it's crazy. I mean, it's kind of I don't know. I went to Penn Yan to visit Bradley, and he tells me about the lacrosse culture when you guys were little. Doesn't seem much different, but I don't know. I mean, there's so much talent that came out of Long Island and still coming out of Long Island now. I mean, I remember going out watching Nicky Galasso play, the freaking best high school lacrosse player of all time. It's just so many things going on in camps and clinics and a lot of guys coaching, which is huge.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words how different it is down there. Upstate's similar. I just think you guys have so many teams. Like there's high schools that I still don't even know that well, and they'll play a really competitive game with the Islips of the world. And all right, let's fast forward to college a little bit. Were you highly recruited? What was the process like when you were recruited? How'd you end up at UMass?
I wasn't highly recruited. I had no ACCs, no Big Tens, no Ivies. Kind of like, I went to a bunch of showcases. Under Armour was my favorite showcase we went to. There was freaking coaches up and down every sideline. You're watching Coach Petro walking around and, when he was freaking big time at Hopkins. But, yeah, I went to a lot of showcases and then kind of just got a couple offers out of high school and just picked UMass. Felt right away.
Now, playing at UMass, they were in, we didn't have Power 5 when I played college, and UMass was in our league. We played in the ECAC, and it's the toughest place I've ever played. Only place I've ever been benched in my life. I had such a bad game on the Gorillas were yelling at me. Chris Fiore stripped me from behind twice. What's the atmosphere like there? Explain the hill and the gorilla. What is the Gorillas like? How do you explain UMass and playing goalie there?
So I remember I committed to UMass. First ever game I went to, they were playing at Hofstra, and I just remember, I'm never fixed. I'm a football guy first, and then lacrosse actually came second. So I just remember them. They were hitting hard, and they were running around, and just guys were, after every guy took a shot, someone was on the ground. And I'm like, the parents were yelling at the refs. I'm like, this sounds like home. This is where I want to be. I'm like, this is awesome, man. And then I got up there, and it was just blue collar, and we had to work for everything. It was just kind of like we were, here at home, same type of thing.
It's so funny you say that, because when we were playing in my junior year, we'd already lost them twice. We were top 10 both years, and we lose to UMass. I'm looking at them like, that's the team I played for in high school. I'm like, those guys play like we played in Penn Yan, and I'm on the wrong side right now. I felt like it is so tough. Jack Reed back then. What's Coach Cannell? Coach Cannell, he's sent out so many head coaches. You mentioned the culture he's built there and just a tough lacrosse program. What's the number one takeaway you have from him, and how does he do things so well there?
Number one takeaway is that I would say till this day, he just holds everybody accountable. I know it sounds cliche, but he just builds like men on and off the field. Like, he doesn't take the easy way in anything. He does everything by the book. He does, practice from the single second of practice plan to the end. You're going 110%. I mean, it just breeds toughness, and the type of kids I think he brings into that school, we're all the same. Like my class, we lived together my senior year. I'm like, where the heck have these guys been my whole life? I'm like, these guys are freaking awesome, man. Like they're gritty, they work for everything. Their parents are gritty. And it's just like type of kid. He just has a feel for the type of kid that he wants that school. And, if you're not that type of kid, you kind of find your way out, to be honest, which is really a good thing for that team because it builds a great camaraderie.
Yeah, it's evident in the play, like I mentioned. Looking at your stats, I see the goalie of the year, and they've had great goalies, you and Doc Snyder and some other people there. But it's always interesting to me. I kind of enjoy this as a coach. So freshman year, you play a lot. Looks like sophomore year, you didn't play that much. Were you injured? And then junior, senior year, starter, goalie of the year, All-American. But to me, I love it. What happened? How'd you deal with it? What do you tell young goalies? Did it help you? I want that story.
Yeah, this is the best, my best learning experience to this day. Came in as a freshman, didn't play early, played the last five or six games as a freshman, all conference games, and went 0-5 in conference. We beat Penn State, we beat Ohio State, we beat UNC, went out to win the national title that year. And then last 5 games of the year, they threw me in there. I did okay. And then I come back sophomore year, thought I had it all figured out, and didn't do so hot, and didn't play. It was kind of like a little reality check for me. Kind of get in gear and get going. And then junior year came around. That summer, I freaking worked my butt off, worked my tail off that summer, and then came in really good shape, actually. Crushed the run test, and then junior year came around and then had a little bumpy road in the middle. Didn't play for like 3 or 4 games in the middle, and then got back in there and we went on to win NCAA and ended up losing to Yale in the tournament my junior year. Had a good run there, and then senior year came back and I was like, man, it's my last year. Let's freaking get after it. No more second chances here. I'm not doing this to myself again. So got that. Was named captain, which was a huge honor for me till this day. One of my biggest honors besides not all these awards, definitely being captain. Just took it and ran with it. It's been awesome.
Now, what advice would you give to a young kid? Like, that's so hard mentally, and it's challenging for coaches too. Obviously, a guy like you, I'm sure they're like, he's so talented, and they want the best for you. But were you thinking of transferring? You just mentioned hard work. Is that really all you focused on? Is just getting back, getting adjusted?
Yeah, I mean, me and Doc Schneider, goalie coach there, he'll tell you right now if he ever listens to this, we had some tough conversations together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we butted heads a little bit, honestly, because I was a little angry with myself, and he was a little angry with me, and we butted heads. But to this day, we have one of the best relationships I have as a person. It's unreal, and we ended up being on the same page with stuff, and it's awesome. But I'll tell younger kids, back to that question, it's just like, stuff's not going to go your way. You got to just put your head to the grindstone and just keep working, because the best part about playing in college is the relationships. You're not going to remember the nights you go out. I mean, maybe a couple, you're not going to remember, doing something on a Wednesday after class. You're going to remember those runs. You're going to remember those games. You're going to remember those tough situations you guys were in, those tough practices. And that's the best thing I can tell a kid. Just keep your grind there, man. If you want to stick with it, it's the best thing ever.
That's awesome. You talk about the memories. Do you have a favorite memory from Garber Field? Do you have one, or just a lot of them?
Yeah, my junior year when we hosted, I think the year before they went to the Final Four, I believe, or maybe 2 years ago. They went to the Final Four. They had Ryan Drenner and those guys, and they came to us as the big shot, and they came and we beat them on Garber. It was a beautiful day on a Saturday. And that's definitely my best memory, freaking all the guys running out and just celebrating and having a good time.
Do they still roll kegs down that hill, or when your era, is that gone?
That's all I keep hearing about this place, but no, not when I was there. You heard all the parents or alums, like, used to dig holes in the hill and put kegs in there. And I'm like, man, why can't we be around that time? We'd love to see people throwing stuff on the field.
Or more kegs. Yeah, they take some of the fun away. Good stuff.
Yeah, well.
All right, so you go. I mean, you have a brilliant senior year. You're goalie of the year in the whole country. Undrafted. Are you just like, this sucks? I mean, at that point, were you thinking you were playing pro and ready to take that path, or what was your thought on pro lacrosse?
Honestly, pro lacrosse wasn't even a thought at that time.
No.
The PLL was just coming out, and we're kind of like, what the heck's going on here? No one really knew. It was about March though. We were mid-season. And we were like, I was like, just kind of focused on playing and playing well and going to practice. Then the draft came out. My good buddy Isaac Parr got drafted by both leagues, and he ended up playing for the Whip Snakes. Thinking about it, which is weird now because a lot of people ask me that question. But then the season went on, and then I'm like, I guess I'm done playing lacrosse. We lost in the semifinals of the conference playoffs, didn't make the tournament, and then kind of like end of the year, talk with the coaches, and my Coach Mack, he's from Geneva, actually. You know Coach McDonald?
Yeah, I know. I coached Craig in the Empire State Games in New York, and you didn't play in that, I don't think. But I coached
just beyond me, yeah.
Yeah, I coached him there in 2002. He was a heck of a long pole. Coached against him when he was at Albany playing with my brother. I know him well, yeah. Stud.
So he freaking comes up to me. He's like, yo, you want to play pro lacrosse? And I start laughing. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we just freaking lost like 2 days ago. I'm like, we had graduation coming up. I'm thinking about getting a job or whatever. And he's like, yeah, Coach Warder called me, another upstate guy. He's like, gave me a call, and he's like, you think he's going to pick you up? I'm like, all right, awesome. Yeah, I'll play. He's like, what do you mean? Like, so I was kind of like thrown off guard, but he was like, yeah, I was like, I'll play. Yeah, absolutely. And then a couple weeks went by. Haven't heard anything from Warder. I'm like, what the heck? Like,
not a talker. He's not a talker.
Yeah. No. And then all of a sudden it's like my phone rings and Coach Warder, and then, the rest is history.
It's just amazing because really similar thing happened to Bradley, Bubba Voy, my cousin who's been on the show. And now you two are clearly two of my favorites to watch pro. That's how we met. I met you out here in Denver after I think you had a 22 save game. And Dallas was horrendous that year until they picked you two up, and then you guys went on the run. and really fun to watch. Let me get into some goalie questions for you, some actual stuff, some interest in me over the years. Everybody wants to tell their goalie to play flat or high arc. Now, do you play different things on different shots? What's your viewpoint on a goalie having a set thing?
I would tell any goalie, play to your strengths. Like, I'm a big dude, so I like kind of play like, I don't play completely flat, but play like maybe half a step out. And when guys with the 2-point arc, if I kind of see them dropping their hands a little bit, I'll take another step forward to kind of cut off that bounce. But most of the time though, I play like it's really kind of like a small arc a little bit because I'm a big dude. But if I would say if you're a smaller guy, step out, play to like your strengths. Like I went to school and I use my size to my advantage, and I don't really step out too far because I feel like I lose my spot in the cage.
Now you mentioned your size. I think you do a good job. You got big presence in net. I don't see you make a ton of body saves. And again, I've only really watched you play pro. I see you more with the stick. Am I wrong on that? Do you think shooters should see bigger target? I mean, your hands, we'll get into your hand speed in a minute, but like you're not trying to just soak it, right?
No, not at all. I'm trying to get on my stick so I can get the ball up and out. Get some fast breaks going. But
yeah.
I don't know, so many reps. I don't know. So many reps at school and just maybe just get my hands even better at school with that stuff. I don't try to use my body that much, but it helps to be big in case I miss sometimes.
That was I think so. To that point, I think you got some of the quickest hands I've seen in years, and that's actually why I like watching you play. I see those hands are quick. How do you get quicker hands as a goalie? What's your secrets?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any secrets. I mean, just reps. Rep out what you're weak at. I would say. It's tough. It's a tough thing. I feel like a lot of kids try to get quick hands and they try to do this, try to do that, but I would just do reps and rep the weaknesses. That's what helped me.
I like that, rep the weaknesses. One thing I'm always curious about with goalies and watching Brian Doherty got me kind of thinking about this all the time. How much of it is like just like reps, like this guy's here. This is usually where the shot goes when this guy's here. Drives me nuts with like when they can't figure out, like, do you not know that that's pretty much the only way he's going to shoot? Are you doing that a lot, or are you just all instinct read and react and you're not much thinking about it's a sweep dodge, he mostly shoots this? How much does that play into your mindset?
It does a little bit, but we just do so many drills, and my coach at school, Doc Schneider, was a huge visual guy. So when guys do runners, they're really likely to shoot the ball back pipe. A lot of times like that, because that's what they're taught. Coaches always shoot the back pipe to the back pipe. But I don't know. I mean, especially when I got to the pros, like you have to anticipate. These guys shoot the ball so hard and so accurate. You have to anticipate. My first start playing in Denver, and John Grant Jr. dips his head, and I'm like on the ground. He threw the ball high. I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out. Yeah, the leaner got me.
Yeah, I call it the turtle. I like to call that the turtle. Like he puts his head in the shell and he does it. His is out of
freaking leaner got me. I'm like, oh boy. But yeah, I have to anticipate a little bit, but definitely just read and react for my style. I don't like to guess. Definitely don't like to guess.
What now? You said Doc's a big visualization guy. You mean like drill? Like he has you walk through the reps mentally? What does he do with that stuff?
Yeah, big time. We do a little bit of walk the line stuff as a goalie, and he's like, visualize a righty coming down the alley and shooting the ball low and away, or visualize a lefty S-dodging underneath and sticking the ball near pipe. Think about the attackman on your team or whoever playing that game week. Think about freaking John Grant Jr. doing a leaner. I wish he was there to tell me that before I got there. But yeah, stuff like that, it helped a ton.
I gotta ask, Doc flopped a lot and made saves. Like he would, I'm thinking of him getting down on that low one or even some of the high ones. Did he ever try to get you to leave your feet?
No. I actually never. I go down sometimes now, but in high school, my knees were clean. I was never on the ground once, which is crazy because I would always ask the questions like, do I go down? Do I not go down? And I'm like, if you can get the ball with your stick, get up and make a play. But like sometimes I go down, depends, I don't know, just kind of instincts, to be honest. I went to school, I made my first save and went down. Like, what the heck did I just do?
But, yeah, you guys, the instinct of that position's gotta just come out. I mentioned playing football. Do you think playing other sports is important for goalies?
Absolutely. I think all these guys that play now, everyone played other sports, I think. It's great. Builds team camaraderie and it just helps you just experience other parts of the game. like, the communication part, every sport's familiar, whether it's basketball, football. I still do that now when I'm training goalies. I'm like, you ever watch a shortstop field the ground ball?
Yeah.
And like, yeah. And they go, I'm like, that's how you have to get down and make a bounce shot save. You got to squat down and you got to make that save, man. Like, it's huge. That's a huge part of the game.
So you say communication. Do you think a goalie can be great without communicating?
Yes and no. I'm not a huge communicator and I'm not a big yeller. I'm a kind of just, if I see guys like kind of getting tired, then I kind of raise my voice a little bit, but I definitely don't yell at guys or in that aspect. It's just kind of find the fine line between leading and being calm too. Because if you talk too much, you lose your focus on what you have to do to stop the ball.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal. Like Coach McDonald, our defense did everything at UMass communication-wise. I wasn't yelling, slide now or fire now or rotate now. I was more kind of like pre-offensive communicator. And then they handled the rest. My job was to stop the ball, which I think helped me succeed a ton there.
That's interesting. I think it's important. I want to hear from my goalie, but I don't need to hear that much necessarily. It just kind of depends on really how good your defense is and what they can handle and if they're pretty good. But what do you look for in a defender? Like, let's just take close D, take the D mids out. Well, we might have to get on that topic in a second, but what do you want out of your close defenseman? What are you looking for? What are the big things you like?
I like guys that are disciplined. I like when they keep them down the alley. Honestly, it sounds super cliche, but I'm like, don't take the ball away. You don't have to strip everybody. Play good D, and you do your job, and I'll do my job. Like that, I think that's just a product of Coach Mack. Just teaching the guys keep them down the alley. You call them down the alley, show them make the saves in the pipe. You get them to the middle. You better freaking turn them back. Just be disciplined and stick to what we do, and just they do their job and I do mine. I think that's the biggest part. Don't get too, I gotta strip this guy in this play and get the ball up and out. Just be fundamentally sound, I think, is big.
Yeah. And what do you think? You think young kids should use a short stick much? Did you train with a short stick much? What do you think about that for stick skills for goalies?
All I do is train with a short stick. I mean, especially coming from UMass, we did every drill with a short stick.
You did?
And yeah, every single drill I did with a short stick.
Really?
Whether it was turns, like guys shooting hard or like doing slow reps or doing wall ball with myself, everything was with a shorty.
I didn't know that. I've always heard goalies, and Brett's a big one. Like at goalie camps we run, he's always like, he's shocked if a kid doesn't have one. He's like, you need to get one. Brody Merrill for defensemen, same thing. But I've never actually seen it that level where you go that many reps with it. So you're like shooting drills with a stick?
With the coaches, I'm not like guys coming in aren't shooting. I mean, just
yeah.
So yeah, coaches. Every pre-practice, I would warm up with a short stick pregame. Just did our drills and that was it, man. It helped me a ton. I love it because if you make a mistake, you can't really grab it. You can't make the save.
Yeah.
The thing with the short stick is like if your technique's not right, the ball's going in.
Now, have you played goalie wars against Bradley yet?
Against Bradley? No, he doesn't want to play me and bring goalie wars. No, not yet.
We got to get you up to Penn Yan this summer again. When I'm there, we'll put together a big tournament maybe. Wanted to ask you about the MLL bubble. Really exciting to watch. I think I talked to you a few times, maybe on speakerphone there. So let's just first game. Obviously, you mentioned Coach Warder. I go way back with my cousins on the team. I'm taking to liking you play now, so I'm hammerheads all the way. You guys were awful in that first game. Not you. You were not awful, but the team. The team. I mean, honestly, I'm like, man, this is like the worst pro team I've ever seen. And it obviously no practice. There's a lot, and you're new, so there's a lot of excuses. But this is pro, so nobody really cares. So how did you guys flip it so fast?
I don't know, man. Like we got first game, and I'm like, I remember looking at Bradley the night before. I'm like, dude, we're gonna be in for a rough couple of days here. Like
practice, like what the first? Did you have a go around before the game, or is this?
Yeah, so we had 2 practices beforehand. The first day was shaky. The next day was a little better. Because we have all these young guys that are just fresh out of college. Like, they didn't come back for their 5th year with the COVID, and they just want to play. And then, of course, we're going out there against Denver, who's absolutely loaded, and it's like, oh, my God, they smacked us in the face, and guys just got comfortable, I think. They were just like, screw it, we got nothing to lose. Why not just play as hard as we can and don't be afraid to make mistakes? Because they're like, no one knows who we are. We're out here freaking playing, man, against the best, and it's like, let's just have a good time with it. We're here for a week. Let's do it.
How much of that is were you that good or catch fire? You played out of your mind. You were so fun to watch. Again, you with the 20+ saves, which to me as a goalie, I mean, that's just a crazy stat. And I know you're not a stat guy, but watching, you're just like, wow, if a goalie makes 20. But is it just getting the confidence? Is it all the thing? Were you guys that good, do you think?
I mean, toward the end, I think we were pretty good. I was actually got the 2 seed in the playoffs, I think, and I think the 2 or 3, and then all this stuff went down, and I was like, darn, like we were getting hot here. We were playing loose and playing confident. It was huge, man. Like these guys were having fun. They were coming together. We were like freaking just playing. No one cared if we lost. We were just out there having a blast, and we were just like, screw it. Like, why not, man? We lose. We're not expected to win, but we're here, and we were freaking rolling. We were freaking rolling, man.
Guys, we're rolling. I mean, do you think about every day that you probably would have won it? I mean, I really think you would have won it. I hate to say that to you, but I low-key like it a little bit. But
listen, me and Bradley talk every day about we should be in there and should be winning. Should have won that freaking thing. But
the last MLL championship too was the last one I ever played.
Yeah, crazy, just absolutely crazy. But yeah, I know we're very still bitter about that, But it was a decision we made. We felt it was good, the right decision to make as a team. We made it together, and it is what it is now at this point. Happy for the Cannons, Boston Cannons now, but I mean, it is what it is, and we're moving on now.
Hey, I mean, I'm ribbing you a little bit, but I should congratulate you. It was amazing turnaround. I mean, from the first night to maybe being the best team in it at the end, and then the Cannons won it, so that happened. But thank you guys for playing in that thing. It was a lot of us have been missing lacrosse so much. It was just great to watch. Bradley told me after the tournament, I love his quote because I was hyping you up to him, and he's just like, dude, he told me, I just don't even care about championships or all pro or goalie of the year. I just want to be remembered as a great teammate. Now, did you say that? And why is that your feeling?
That is exactly what I said, because he was across the hall and he came coming every night, and we would talk and we were pissed about what was going on. And I'm like, all this outside stuff, all these people talking on all these platforms who don't even know what's really going on the inside, it just drives us nuts. And I was like, dude, who cares what people are saying, man? Just all that matters, those guys that are on the field with you. Like, that just comes from UMass too. Like, our biggest motto is being remembered as a good teammate and a good guy. Like, you may stink at lacrosse, you may be the best player in the field, but if you're the best player in the field and you're an a-hole, no one cares about you. If you're the worst player in the field and you're a great teammate and a great player and a great guy, that's the best part about it. So that's why I did tell Bradley that, and I still stick by that today. I
love that. No, that's coming from Canella down? That's
absolutely. Absolutely. For sure.
That's amazing. I know your answer to this, but who are you going to be on in the PLL?
I don't know. Come on. Don't hit me with that question. I don't know. We'll see what happens when the draft's going up. It's going to be exciting, though.
All right. I mean, you're just excited about new opportunities. I mean, the league's super fun. It's been really annoying having to try to, compare and be like, oh, he would have been good in this one. So you're just excited about the new league, though?
Yeah, I'm pumped about it. I think it's good for lacrosse, coming together. I wish it was more teams because a lot of guys, might not get a chance to play, which sucks. But, I think it's good for the sport. Keep it all together, and just excited about it. It's going to be a good summer. I can't wait. Hopefully, someone picks me up in the draft, but we'll see what happens.
All right, well, I said Water Dogs. Andy Copeland likes all my tweets about it. He likes to about you coming around, another upstate guy. That league's so fun, though, and so's the MLL Pro Lacrosse. I'm glad they're merged. I'm glad we can talk about the MLL again when you talk PLL. Pro Lacrosse is just great. I got some general questions for you to run down the end here for us. What's the one thing you could go back and tell younger Sean, lacrosse-wise?
Of what age? Like college Sean or like third grade Sean?
Let's say go. I mean, it's a tough time for college kids right now. So maybe like freshman Sean, like you're going into COVID. You got the what they got to deal with now, where it's really not the college experience you and I experienced. So, let's say you're college freshman and you got to tell yourself something before season.
For the thing I would tell younger Sean would just be like, don't take anything for granted. Like, take it day by day and enjoy it. Don't be afraid to sit out there after practice on the field and just look around. I mean, especially as a freshman, it's so hard. You got class, you're running around, you're trying to find something to eat, you're trying to go back to the study room, you got to get your study hall hours in. Your head's all over the place. You're spinning. You're away from home sometimes for the first time, and just sit down and soak it in. I would say, like that's the biggest thing I would tell down. Because my freshman year flew by. My whole college career flew by. My freshman year flew by. Just enjoy it. Like you never know what's gonna happen, especially now with these kids with COVID. I tell my sister all the time, go out there, shoot a bucket of balls once in a while if you're bored. Don't sit down and watch Netflix. Like you're not gonna have an opportunity to play again. Sometimes, you might not. You never know what's going to happen. Get out there, shoot a bucket of balls. Go out there, sit on the field. Who cares? Get out there, especially in Carolina. I'm like, go freaking sit in the sun. What are you doing? That's fun.
That's good advice. I should ask you this earlier when we were getting into goalie stuff. Who's your favorite goalie ever?
That's a tough question. My favorite goalie.
You can pick a couple.
Let me think here. Favorite goalie growing up. It's funny. I actually loved Nico Amato when he was at Maryland. Yeah, I watched him a ton. He was a bigger guy at the time. He lost a lot of weight now, though, but he was a bigger guy at the time, playing at Maryland. And him, and I actually watched my senior high school Blaze a ton in Albany.
Yeah.
And when he freaking scored that goal, I was freaking going nuts, man. He scored against Cornell.
Nice.
Unbelievable. So those two guys, I would probably say, when growing up, watching them all the time. Maryland was always on TV, but yeah, definitely those two guys probably.
The Blaze goal, I mean, it's still anytime it comes on Instagram, whatever edit it is, I still watch it because it's so good.
Unbelievable.
The pocket hanging out of the sweatpants.
The pump fake of the defenseman and the lefty runner.
That was nice. Another upstate boy, obviously. What do you think is the most influential thing a coach said or did or you took away from a coach in your career?
Wow. Tough questions. The most influential thing, I would say, I'm gonna give the credit to my, the two guys that trained me a lot when I was Coach McEntee. He's one of the assistants at Hofstra right now, and
Coach Manhattan head coach, right?
Was that
the old Manhattan head coach?
Yep. He's an East Islip guy. Played high school football with my dad actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're kind of buddies through that. Give those guys all the credit for getting me where I am, but definitely my UMass coaches just pushing me to my limits. They were on me, and that's where I come from. My dad and my mom the same way with me. But not letting me get out easy. They were on me every day. And I freaking love them for it to this day. But definitely the biggest thing to take away from them is just be a good person and push to your limits, man. Why wait? There's nothing to wait for. You're
making me wish I played UMass. They should probably put it on YouTube and send it to people. Just cut off the recruiting stuff. Man, I hated playing against them. I could feel it, and now it makes a lot more sense talking to you about it. All right, what's the common myth about goalies or lacrosse or prolax that you want to debunk? The thing that you hate that people say about your position or just lacrosse in general that you want to get rid of that myth?
Man, I think that the biggest thing too is that when a lot of people get to college, they don't realize how hard it's going to be. From the college level to the high school level. I mean, these kids, my brother coaches the high school here at East Islip, and I saw a couple of kids over the winter break. And I'm like, hey man, how was your fall? And every kid's like, man, it was a reality check. That's the biggest thing too. It's like, oh man, you're gonna get in there, you're gonna play right away, like you're gonna start, and like, no, you're probably not. You're probably not. It's hard. You got to earn that spot. You have all these names. Oh, I'm 47 recruit coming in. Well, this is probably someone better than you on the team already. Like, that's the big thing I'd take away.
That for me as a coach is super hard because it's coming, and you're gonna have that conversation with kids, and you try to even dude, Bradley's, I hate to even bring him up on that, but I told him I was at the Hill Academy. I pulled this because that was back with early recruiting. I was like, hey man, I got 5 lefties at the Hill better than you right now. We had Zach Miller, T, Nolan Apers, and he's better than Nolan Apers now, and Brian Cole. But my point to him was I'm like, you got to work harder. And I don't, he got mad at me, and so people told me that, but as a midi, you can get on the field, so it's a lot easier as a midfielder. But that's a good point. What's the best deli on Long Island?
The best deli? Come on, I'm going to have to say Seaport Deli up in Port Jeff.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's far from me. I don't go there because it's deep. I went there a couple times. But, yeah, that's definitely the best deli.
Right next to – no, that's not near Manhasset. That's Port Washington.
That's Port Washington. Yeah, Port Jeff is by Port Jeff Ferry up there. on the way to Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, by like Stony Brook, up by Stony Brook, actually.
Oh, that way.
Yeah.
The island, to me, I mean, I've been a bunch, but still, I don't understand it. It's just so many good lacrosse players. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Pizza and Deli. What's next for you outside of lacrosse? I know you're in grad school. What are you up to next?
Yeah, I'm going to grad school. I'm going to be a guidance counselor one day. I'm finishing up in May, and then I got to find a job there, and I'm going to coach high school football and high school lacrosse, and hopefully play pro lacrosse still for as many years as I can.
Literally living the dream. That's awesome. What's your big piece of advice? Any goalie listening at home, any lacrosse player listening at home?
Biggest advice I'd say is just have fun. Like, a lot of these kids take it way too serious, and all these programs going on now, like so many clinics, so many practices, so many tournaments, and it's like, just have fun, man. Like, I think these kids take it too seriously, and like, it's a fun sport, this day after my college career, but just have fun, man. Like, that's the biggest thing for me. Just because before you know it's gonna be over. Like, the day's gonna come. So live it while you can.
All right, who's your well, that's great advice. Who's your pick? Women's National Championship, Division I. Who you got?
Men's or men? And what'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
Women's.
Women's UNC. Come on.
UNC.
Gotta go with the Lady Tar Heels.
You think anybody can beat them? We were talking before we hit the record button. They're pretty loaded.
They are loaded. Yeah, they have some depth. They are freaking stacked. But I don't know. It should be good. We'll see. Just pump. I'm rooting for my sister though, so gotta stick with them.
There's a team out in Denver that's pretty good. Just throwing.
Oh, the Lady Pioneers out there.
Good. It's fun to watch, and I know. I love watching the UNC Stony Brook game this weekend. What was your takeaway from that game? I know you told me as we got on, but what were you saying about Stony Brook? I just want people to hear it.
Yeah, I thought Stony Brook was physical. They fought for every ground ball. I love their style of play. There's some tough girls in that team, and they were bumping hard. And I remember, I know you can get called for fouls if you bump too hard or something, but they were physical and deep. That's what I loved about them, and they were fighting off the draw and picking up ground balls, and they didn't turn away. They were tough. They were a tough crew.
You just love Long Island strong, right? Like tough.
That's it. Gritty and tough ground balls. That's it.
Well, dude, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy, and excited to have you on. I can't wait to watch you play in the PLL this summer, and look forward to having you up in Penn Yan again.
Absolutely. I got to make a trip up there to see you guys.